here at IPBC Asia, we have delegates from all over the Asia-Pacific region, indeed all over the world, among them from Korea. The Koreans are still one of the most prolific filers for patents with the US Patent and Trademark Office. Samsung in particular is in number 3 position, which just goes to show how active the Korean industry is in developing new intellectual property. The questions that we're posing today are really around how Korea is doing in terms of monetizing and adding value to its intellectual property. And our guest wears 2 hats. He's Youn Seung Hyun, who's both with Hyundai Motor as well as the Korean Intellectual Property Association, or KINPA for short. Thank you very much for stopping by during the coffee break, Sean. Firstly, I suppose, can you give us a snapshot of how sophisticated the Korean industry is, or the Korean marketplace is for IP?
Yeah, recently IP strategy of Korea is very changing more and more because Korean companies recognized IP strategy as most important factor in business administration. So most of Korean companies try to make it a major factor of risk management in IP field. So, for example, our company, Hyundai Motors, has established IP strategy well harmonized to business strategy together with R&D strategy also. Therefore, IP strategy in Korean marketplace is hot issue and important research field in IP.
You were there during the formation of KINPA 5.5 years ago.
Yes.
What prompted that? I mean, what was the need? What was the motivation for doing so?
At the times, our corporations is cope with every IP issue individually, but there is a big limitations to cope with government side and any other international IP issues. But we make an association in order to cooperate IP issues and becoming account partners of Korea Patent Office on any other government side. It's a very important thing. We made one voice from our industry. It is very important.
Do you have any examples of where you've been successful in doing so?
Yeah, KINPA made some opinions for the U.S. Patent Reform Act as one opinion from Korean IP consumers. It is impossible except KINPA, the Samsung Electronics and LG Electronics has a different idea and opinions over there. So it's a very strong opinion for our Korean IP side. It will be responded by the government side.
Yes, but how close do you think KINPA is to the government? Is there a risk of being too close?
Pardon me?
Is there a risk of being too close to the government? Because
Sure.
after all, you're trying to persuade them of your point of view. You're trying to influence policy. But on the other hand, you also work closely with the Korean Intellectual Property Office, division of the government.
There is some risk, but I think communicate more is a good side, good effect for us, because information is very important issues in IP policy and IP issues and IP news. And it is very useful and effectiveness and give a helpful for our side. It's a good point of KINPA association.
When you look at the Korean marketplace and Korean companies, to what extent have mindsets changed? I mean, are Korean attitudes towards monetization changing? Has there been a maturing of Korean industry to make more of their IP?
Yeah, it's a good question for Korean IP field. Nowadays, as you know, Korea has the biggest global makers like Samsung and LG and Hyundai, SK. big companies is global player already, but Korean society and Korean IP field is not globalized at the level of US and level of EP. So there is big gaps in IP field in Korea. So we are very shocked about some big litigations and big M&As and a large amount of royalty cases, like Samsung Apple cases and MS merged Nokia cases. It's a big shock for us. So it changes our companies doing something. And we changed rapidly to adapting the global IP issue market, to survive.
So what would be some examples where the gaps remain?
Yes. First of all, we make IP strategy more sharpening, like Samsung's and Hyundai's and LG's. And secondly, we hire more IP experts like US patent attorney and European patent attorney and Korean patent attorney also. So in the market, there is a few lack of IP engineers and IP experts in Korean society. That's responded. IP issue is important in our society.
Now, putting on your Hyundai Motors hat for a moment,
Yes.
you've also been on the receiving end of litigation when the company Pace, which makes hybrid motor technology, took you, as well as Kia Motor, to court. Also Toyota Motor,
Yes.
they settled with some years ago. Ford has licensed Pace's hybrid technology. What would you put down this alleged breach of three of Pace's patents? Was it part of those gaps in the maturity of the Korean
Yes.
IP market, do you think?
Our business result is successful in the world, like the US market and Chinese market and European market. We rise on the fourth biggest maker in automobile market. But IP field, we are not that much because it takes a lot of time and it is hard to raising the IP expert internally. So we try to, internally we made a lot of patent filing as an IP asset. And secondly, we raised hundreds of our IP engineers as an IP expert for regional area, like US IP expert and EP IP expert, the Japanese and Chinese expert. We are training a long-term training process. And we invest more in IP field. 10 years ago, we think about IP cost. It's just a cost. Cost means we have to reduce more and more. But nowadays, it is converted cost, not a cost, but investment for the future and essential. It is good news for us, and we try to and steadily and rapidly.
So, in other words, an issue like the Pace issue could not arise these days.
Yes.
That's your point. And now that you're looking at it more as an investment than a cost,
Yes.
how has your day-to-day work at Hyundai changed? What do you find yourself doing more now than 10 years ago?
Yeah. First of all, at the times we tried to avoid IP infringement, IP issues. But nowadays, we are actively cope with IP issue and infringement. We respect and esteem the IP right, and we try to get a lot of IP right in our big market, like US and EP areas. It is biggest change to respect the IP right, and it's a good method to success in the business market. It's our insight of our executive level.
Very useful. So finally then, what would you say are the most important points that Korean companies generally still have to learn? What is it at KINPA where you're saying these are the points that still need to be adopted?
Yes. Samsung, Hyundai, LG is a global player. They are very competitive in the global market. So IP market also, they are good player. They catch up with the new technology, new IP, fashion and policy and information. They can do very well. But another problem is the middle-sized corporations and small-sized corporations is not ready to get in the patent field.
And you think they should?
Yes. So we made this gap is smaller. We cooperated each other and help each other and educated each other, sharing the information each other in Korean IP side. So KINPA is very useful in our side. Thank you.
Very interesting. Thank you very much for your time, Sean.
Yeah.
And you must be delighted being here in Singapore because so many of our taxis, the yellow and the blue taxis, are all Hyundais.
Yeah.
Hyundai Sonata taxis. Did you
Yes,
notice that?
we sell a lot of taxis and good.
All right. Thank you very
Yeah,
much again
thank you, Mark.
for coming
Yeah.
today.
Thank you.
Sean Youn, both from Hyundai Motor as well as the Korean Intellectual Property Association, KINPA, joining us here at IPBC Asia, where the coffee break is over. Sean, we'll let you get back to the plenary sessions.
Yeah.
Thanks again.
Thank you. I'm happy with you.